Looking at this, we want to do data definition and data control language. So data definition language has to do with create, alter, drop. Data control language simply has to do with grant, revoke. These are the ones we are going to look at. Once you understand the concept of this, you can always deal with every other one that you'll be seeing. Data definition language, create, alter, drop. In creating a table, we are looking at creating a table. In creating a table, each column must possess behavioral attributes like data types and precision in order to build the structure of the table. That is actually what I've explained to you. When we say select star from employees, and then we terminate. So I run this. Now, you see this table, I created one table, which is this emp, but I'm going to create it properly. That day I just created it by duplicating what is in the employee table. Now, these columns that you're looking at is what is referred to as the attribute. When we started this class, I told you that we have the column and then we have the rows. Where the columns and the rows meet is referred to as the field, which is where you have this 100. So you have this column, we have these rows. Where they meet is referred to as the field. And that's why you have 100, 101, Stephen, like that, all those meeting points. That is what we started with in our very first class. So these are the attributes that your script is going to work on. Now, all these columns that you are looking at, they have what we call data type. And what is the meaning of data type? I've actually explained to you before. So when you look at this, let's go to this side. Look at this, and I click on, let's go to our employee table. Now, this is the employee table. I've explained this in one of our classes. So if you check all those previous videos, you will still see it. Employee ID. You look at this number. Now, when you look at this number, you will see that it has 2 digits inside. 6, then comma, then 0. What does this mean? This first one is the precision, and this second one is the scale. If you look at this salary, you will see similar thing there too. 8, 2. Now, what does this mean? This precision, like in this salary now, in the case of this salary, this 8 is telling you that you have 8 digits. 8 digits. Now, this has to do with decimal number. So we have digit to the right of the decimal, to the left of the decimal, and then we have digit to the right of the decimal. So this 8 is telling you that you have 8 digits. Now, 2 digits to the right of the decimal. That is what this is telling you. Now, if you take 2 digits out of 8 digits, that means you have 6 digits to the left of the decimal. Are you with me? That is what this number inside this bracket is telling you. So this 2 commission percentage, then you have 2, and then you have 2 on this side. So it's telling you that you have only 2 digits, and these 2 digits you are now having 2 on this side. So it's telling you that you have 2 digits to the right of the decimal. So nothing is to the right, nothing is to the left of the decimal. That's what this is telling you. Now, manager ID, you have 6 digits. So you have 0 on this side, meaning you have 0 digit to the right of the decimal, and you have 6 digits to the left of the decimal. So this is like a whole number. So department ID is a whole number. Manager ID is a whole number. Employee ID is a whole number. And that is what you are seeing there. Now, variable character, varchar. This varchar means variable character. Then you have 20 bytes. So it's telling you that you cannot go above 20 bytes. Now, if you count, so if you are supplying first name, that first name must not be longer than 20 bytes. So that is variable character. Then all this one are telling you the size. These are just the sizes. So that is what this data type is telling you. So we are going to create a table now. So following this, we have create, we have alter, then we have drop. So you create a table. If you feel maybe you created 3 columns in that table, and you feel you want to add additional column, you use this keyword, the alter keyword. Then you want to drop a table. Last time we delete from a table. And I told you that when you delete from a table, the table structure will still remain. So which is the same thing as saying you have a house and then you have things inside the house. So when you pack those things out of the house, but the house is still standing, that is delete. Now I want to pack everything out of the house and demolish the house. That house will not exist again. So that is when you have this drop. So that is the drop command you will use to do that. Then we have this here, which is data control language. You are granting access to the users who are going to use the database. You can revoke those access. So I'm going to show you how you grant access and how you revoke access. So let's create a table. So we have here. Now I already have one table which I created, which is the emp. Let's create. So now, yeah, let's create another one. Say emp1. I'm going to create another table called emp1. You can give your table name. So I can say create. To do that, you have to call the create keyword, create table. You can type it in lowercase. Create table. Are you seeing that? Create table. And then you give the table name emp1 because I already have m. So I'm creating another one, emp1. Now, once you do that, you open the parentheses. I usually do open and close. So inside, what is it you want to define now? You want to create the attribute of this table, which are what? The columns. So emp1. Now I'm just going to create employee ID. I can give my own a different name. First name, last name. So I can say, I can give it employee ID. This is just the way I want to name my table. Now, once I create the table, I have to define the data type. What am I saying? I'm saying these are the only type of data that this column should take. Are you with me? So that is when I will now type, I will say number. So that is the data type number. Then I'm going to define my precision. So like what we saw in that one, I will say 6 and then comma 0. So what that simply means is a whole number. So that is the data type. But there's another thing again I want to do. I want to also define this table, this column as I'm going to define a constraint, meaning a rule saying that this is the primary key. So I'm going to define the primary key of this table. So I just space it and then I define primary key. So this is a constraint I'm attaching to this table. I have to close this parenthesis. Now, I have to remove this one. So I am saying that my column, the first column is employee ID. And what it should be expecting is what? Number. That is what should come into it. You cannot have variable character. You cannot have date in that column. It's only number that should come in. And this is the size. Now, this column is what I'm also defining as my primary key column. What does that mean? It means that this column cannot have repeated rows. So I cannot have 100, 101, 102. No, I cannot have that. If you look at this one, you can see that it was defined there. Look at this. This employee ID in the main table employee table that you're looking at. Look at employee ID. Primary key. You can see that the rest are null. Why this one is primary key 1? So that constraint was defined for this table. How they define it is what I'm telling you now in our own creation. So I'm defining that column as the primary key column. Okay, so I can bring it down like this. Then I will create the second column. So I can say first name. You can see I'm doing my own differently from the way it is here. So this is how I want to arrange my own. First name, then I will define my data type. Varchar 2, variable character 2, and then in bracket, I will say 20. I will just close it. Then Last name. Data type will also be variable character. Salary. Let me just salary. Then I will also say number. So that one I can now, let me just follow what was in that their own 8, comma 2. Then I'm closing the parentheses. That parenthesis that I open, then I terminate. Now look, this parenthesis, you can see when I did that, watch. When I put this parenthesis, can you see when I put this parenthesis, you know it is now highlighted, and it highlighted this one, telling me that this is the opening parenthesis and this is the closing one. And then I terminate. You can see that I brought this parenthesis to the same alignment with this my create. Are you with me? So create table emp1. Now the table columns: employee ID, first name, last name, salary. What are the data type? Number. So this column is expecting only number. This column is expecting variable character. This column is expecting variable character. This column is expecting number. So, and these are the size. So these sizes is what will enable the memory allocation in my computer. The memory allocation will be given based on these sizes that I've created. This place, comma should be here. Comma should be here. Comma should be here. Are you with me? So this is the last one. So there will be no comma. So employee number, comma, that is the first column, second column, third column, last column. So this is it. Now execute. You see, it's done. Table is created. That table is created. So I can now say, now that table is created without anything inside it. I can now say select. I can come here now, remove this. Select star from emp1. Are you with me? So when I execute, so this is the table, because there's nothing inside the table. So it's showing me the table structure: employee ID, first name, last name, salary. So the table has been created. Now, if I'm going to now put something inside it, either I can import it using Excel, or I can populate this now using my normal employee table. So let's populate this. Let's populate employee ID, first name, last name, salary. Let's populate it. So I will just come here. I will just come here and I will say insert. Insert into. Are you seeing? Insert into emp1. Are you with me? Are you with me? Insert into M1. So I will now say select. Now, the normal insert, I'm supposed to say insert into M1 and then state all the columns. And then I will now write value, and then I will now state all the other informations that I need, which is, but what I want to do now is I want to insert into this emp1, populating it from my employee table. So I will say select employee ID, employee underscore ID, comma, first underscore name. That is from the employee table, first underscore name, comma, last underscore name, comma, salary from employees. Then I'll terminate. So what I'm saying now is that I'm saying insert into employee, insert into emp1. Now I didn't state the columns. I didn't state the column. I can do that. I can do like this and state all these columns: employee ID, first name, last name, which are these my columns. But I'm not stating it. So the system automatically knows that if I'm not stating the columns, it means that this column that I am bringing in must be arranged according to how the columns are created. So this employee ID information will come into employee ID. First name information will come into first name. Last name information will come into last name. Salary will come into salary. Because the data type that I created for this and what I have here is the same, so it will match. So I'm going to pull all the information from the employees table and I'm going to insert it into this place. So I'm going to execute this. So it's done. I've inserted into the employee table. So if I now go back here now and say select star from employees, can you see that? How many employees do I have? I have 107 employees. But I only created employee table that is employee ID, first name, last name, salary. I just needed to populate this without writing any values. So I want to populate it from the employee table. So I said insert into emp1. Select employee ID, first name, last name, salary. This column from the employee tables are having the same data type with this data type that I created here. So that's why they came in without any error. Are you with me? Because I've specified in this place that only number should come into the employee ID. Only variable character should come here. And I know that in my normal employee table, those are the same data type. So I'm just saying, go to the employee table, copy everything there, and come and put here for me. And copy from this column, this column, this column, this column, and populate this table for me. So that is it. Are you with me? So that is what I have done.